All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Run with the Wind, episode 22.
We got Yuki and Nico-chan last episode.
We did. It was really good. Now we're with King.
Yep.
He is just starting up his race here, but he is in his own head. He is dealing with the annoying bully guy.
Yeah, not
Sakaki.
Shinji.
Sakaki,
Right,
yeah.
I wanted to say Takagi,
And,
but no.
Yeah. He's going to be probably losing a bit of their time that they gained back
Just
because
a
of
bit.
Yuki's incredible performance there.
But just do the best you can, dude.
Do the best you can.
Pass it off to Kakeru, and he'll
Exactly.
just storm through the rest of the race. It'll be great.
Run like the wind.
Yep.
So, if King is probably getting like this last little like bit of kind of focus here, then they're probably going to split the episode with him and Kakeru. But the question is how much of the episode is actually going to go to Kakeru versus King. I really want the lion's share of it to go to Kakeru. I don't want him to get shorthanded. However, Haiji getting his own episode at the end makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
King and Kakeru.
Yep.
We get
That's right.
a little bit of focus on King. He goes on a very wonderful mental journey through his thoughts,
Yes.
through his emotions, through his social experiences, through his past with the Ste C,
Yep.
with everyone. And we see a lonely boy
Yeah.
who put on some kind of a facade, something that pushed people away, a persona of the king, that I've got everything figured out. I've got everything on lock here. And yet Haiji, who saw him when he came in with the hopeful eyes of just like I'm going to have my college experience, right?
And barely grabbing the hand. Just barely touching the fingers.
Yep, exactly.
As a handshake.
God.
Oh boy.
Wow.
That
Yeah, that says a lot.
That says a lot. We don't know much about King's past or experiences or things like that, right? We very much just know the person that he is now, you know? Like,
And that's kind of intentional, it seems like.
yeah,
That was something that he basically did
yep.
for, some kind of maybe pride or just, insecurity.
A combination of a bunch of things, right?
Yeah, a bunch of things, yeah.
And the idea that, I don't know, there's something that I feel like in stories isn't gotten into very much, is the whole concept of like pride and how negative it can be, you know?
Yeah, how lonely it makes you.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's there's taking pride in your work, when you do a good job at a thing, stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
But
there's the determination pride of I will never give up,
exactly.
Yeah.
But that can also be some nasty shackles. Like the way that King was so a slave to the whole idea of, all right, I need to get my job and all that stuff, and I'm gonna do really well, right?
Yeah.
I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody else, right? I'm the king.
Oh boy.
He learned his limitations, I feel like.
Yeah.
As a result of running in the Ekiden, for sure.
And as a result of just living with Haiji and the crew.
Yeah, as a result of living with Haiji and everyone in Ste. And that is something that I am so happy that they showed here, because that doesn't make for as flashy of a story, But that's an incredibly important lesson to learn, I feel like. That a lot of people don't get.
Right, because they think that they can get through life, basically, with just putting up this persona that's fake.
Right.
But the thing is that you can. You totally can.
Sure.
You won't be happy, though.
Right.
You will not find any kind of real happiness in that.
And valuing happiness is important, and it's okay, right?
Yeah,
Having that be a
exactly.
priority of, doing stuff because you really want to do it, that's the...
Yeah.
Like, it's what makes us different from machines, right? Yeah, if you can do the thing and do the grind or whatever, right? Because that's kind of what King's been obsessed with, then awesome, good for you, right?
Yeah.
But if there are those points where say you can't, or it's tough, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Accepting that is huge, because otherwise, like what's the point of the stuff that you're doing? Why are you applying yourself in these different areas, right?
Totally.
And I think that's also why it's so fitting that he then passes things off to Kakeru.
Yeah.
Because Kakeru, meanwhile, is having this conversation with Joji of what's it like to fall in love?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like as a result of King being with this group of, you know, lovable idiots and such,
yes,
that he might have started to learn again what it means to love.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, it's just really good.
How can you not be thrilled for him? How can you not want to cheer for him?
Just so excited for him because he feels like the normal guy that thought that he was going to have a special life.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no. Life doesn't care about you. Mm-hmm. Life doesn't care about you.
And that can be an incredible burden. That can also be incredibly freeing.
Yes.
There's something about being invisible in a crowd. Mm-hmm. Like and that's like a me way of phrasing it, you know.
Yes, I know what you mean.
But the idea that you are nobody. Nobody.
Yep.
But you're there.
And in that nobody is the real you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Like
I love his line of basically saying that with running, things are different.
Right.
I'm a part of a team where something is expected of me.
Mm-hmm.
I am still alone when I run.
Yeah.
But in these moments where things are expected of me, I can cast aside restraint and pride and support one another with that.
In this moment, I swear we are infinite.
Yeah, you know, exactly. It is that feeling of basically taking flight, and yet having there be wind underneath your wings that is put there by the efforts and struggles of those around you and yourself. So
exactly. It's all of them.
It's basically the moment where your individual hard work, if you will, actually means something, because it stretches out beyond yourself and then lifts others up in addition to you. Mm-hmm. So it's just really, really special. I love these kinds of moments where people fall in love with something that they not like could be passionate about, but where they don't really have a passion that's real. So King's before this was trivia, which makes so much sense now that you think about it. But I don't think his real passion was necessarily trivia. Mm-hmm. I think trivia was something he more picked up because he was lonely.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Picked up because he was lonely, but also as a result of wanting... It's something that you can do and impress people with, right? Of like, oh yeah, look at how much I know, kind of a thing, right? You know, if there's some game show going on TV and you're like,
I'm gonna know all that stuff.
I know all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, that it doesn't really help you, right?
It doesn't make people want to connect with you.
Yeah, well, and the knowledge itself is kind of vapid, right? It's like who cares what the what country has the most trees per
trivial
acre? You know, yeah, exactly. It's trivial. Right? And King is all obsessed about being not trivial, right? So he's going to become the king of the trivial. Mm-hmm. I feel like that wraps up his whole conflict, internal character conflict, right up in a nice little bow. Yeah. And yet, hey, here's the thing that, running doesn't necessarily really matter. Now, in this case, it probably will help you get a job, you know, actually running in the Ekiden. But even if it didn't, right? But hey, you're part of a team. Yeah. You're working towards something.
Yeah.
That counts for an awful lot.
Yeah, that's strength that people will see.
Mm-hmm. Right, even if they don't know where it comes from. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, you know, with regards to strength, Kakeru, our boy, the strongest runner, the greatest runner, according to Haiji. Haiji basically looks at him and Fujioka and says, yeah, I saw Fujioka as a first year.
Right.
I know what he's like. You?
Yeah.
You can go beyond him.
And that's something that I think is so important to remember, because it would be so easy to think that Haiji is just like, okay, Haiji's the
blow
mom
wind
of the
into
group.
his-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get him psyched up for the race, whatever.
Exactly.
Right? But no, he's the one person out of everyone in this
That
show
actually has the ability to say this.
That actually has the ability to say this, and really was closest to Fujioka. Like
Yep.
even probably closer than some of the people on his own team were.
Potentially, yeah, because he's now hit that celebrity status where he probably doesn't have the luxury of being able to be friends with,
Right.
everyone in that level.
And from what we saw in the flashbacks, they were tight. Like it wasn't just they were on the same team.
They had a lot of mutual respect for each other.
A lot of mutual respect for each other, and like were very close by.
And we know that that's continued to this day because of the way Fujioka talks about Haiji when he's not there to Kakeru. And then he's like, he needs you. He needs someone like you there. And it's in some ways a passing of the sash, if you will, to Kakeru being like, hey, I can't be there for him, so you need to be. So, since you are doing all this, not only just for yourself, but in teammates, in accordance and in support and rallying with Haiji, I want you to show me something.
Yeah.
Because it's not just going to be for me, it's going to be for Haiji, it's going to be for yourself. Then Haiji has the one talk with him of, okay, become stronger, Kakeru.
Right.
Which is great because what he's kind of saying is he's a great runner. He's an incredibly strong runner.
Yeah.
Fujioka is. But you're the greatest runner, so I want you to become stronger.
Right.
What he's basically saying is beat him. He's basically saying, go run faster than him. And I'm not going to coach you in any way after that. I know how much of a negative experience you've had with coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to
You know what you need to do.
Exactly.
Like this is in your blood and your bones.
Yeah. And
Just go.
I loved this bit here with Sakaki because you could almost see that Kakeru was already in love with running.
Yeah.
The way he kind of has that wanderlust look in his eyes off to the left, and he's just like, huh.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think the other thing is that he sees in
the
Sakaki
future. Oh.
that he doesn't.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? He sees some of himself in him. It's the, oh yeah, in the same way that you were chasing after me, you kind of still are, right?
Yeah,
and,
just a little bit, yeah.
And I hope and I trust that you will also get to the place where I feel I am now. You know?
And thankfully, Sakaki is embraced by a bunch of his friends who come around him and they're like, dude,
you got fifth in the section. Way to go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I was so proud of you. Those look like the other rookies, basically.
Sure.
Who are like looking up to him.
Yeah.
And that was really good. So, freaking King with that adorable, exasperated face.
But also like,
we're counting on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joji just like, oh!
Yeah, he still doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it at all. But then we get into just the zone here. Where, it's just, this last bit of the episode is just so good.
There have been a few things that I've been really curious about how they were going to handle in the show, right? From how it was set up from early on. Yeah. One was, of course, Prince and how he was going to run in the Ekiden, and we got that, and it was excellent. The other is, of course, Haiji and what's going to happen next episode.
And then finally, Kakeru.
Then the other one is Kakeru, because they're running...
he's the power ceiling for our protagonists.
Exactly. If he's the power ceiling for our protagonists, and yet this is a... I mean, yes, running fast is good, but it's not actually about being fast. It's about being fast over a long period of time, right? How do they make it so that it feels really exciting for Kakeru when he's so much better than a lot of the people here?
Right.
Even though the actual differences and discrepancies with regards to their actual time, because it's a very long race, will be small, right? You know, the idea that when he passes people, he's not flying past them, right? Within the context of this race, he is absolutely zooming past them. But, for the people that are just regularly watching that don't know too much about, running, haven't ever tried to do something like this, they probably look at him and they're like, oh, he's a fast guy, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? They don't really get what's going on. So all these times where we see him and we get into the way his body's moving and how he feels the wind going through him and the water and all that stuff. And then eventually his body just...
Well, yeah, it was like there was a frosty layer over him. And
yeah.
It just kind of crystallizes and shatters off of him.
Just blows away.
There's a couple moments in this where they do really cool things with the visuals because I really like how much Kakeru gets in his own head. Yeah. Making him kind of in a lot of ways the reminder he's the protagonist.
Sure.
But there's a lot of moments that they do things with color and muting everything, showing him in that cosmic dimension of sorts.
Right.
But I love the part where he transitions to 10th place so far in the standings. And it's a brief little bit where he's like, oh, based on this, that means there's 13 kilometers left. Okay, if I pass these ones, okay, that means I'm in 10th. Then he looks ahead and he sees 9 runners. There's a beautiful little like switch that's going on here. In his head, he's realizing who he's running with. And he's not alone, right? King's whole thing with, not being alone. And then Yuki also like calling out to Kakeru, like in his mind in the previous episode about how, it looks lonely up ahead there.
Right.
Whereas Kakeru sees all these people running ahead of him. And he's like, I get to run with these people. Not only that, I get to maybe even run past them.
And it's are these the people that are actually in the race, or are these Chikuseso?
Are these the people that are actually the 9 ahead of him in the race? Probably.
Yeah.
But you could also look at that and say, like, well, there's 9 other members of the Chikuseso.
Right.
9 other members that he gets to run with. And because they're just far enough out of, like view, we don't know exactly who they are.
Right, but it kind of, it can be both, I actually feel like it might be.
It is the runners on the race. It is the runners because we transitioned to Fujioka like almost immediately after that.
Right.
And it is directly after it shows it goes into 10th there. But then, what will you show me? And this is the moment where I feel like I get to describe so many aspects of my weird self in a bit of animation here. So, this is art here. So you guys are going to have to run with me. A little bit here.
Really? No.
Because I'm about to move really fast in a weird direction here. One of the things that I love so much about running is when you step faster than a walk, there's a point where both feet leave the ground.
Right.
And
that's
when
the technical split between a jog or in a run versus walking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a jog is not, there's no technical thing for it. A jog...
It's just a slow run,
It's a slow run. You will have a point where there's 2 feet above it. But the point is that once that happens, you start to basically fight against gravity.
Right.
And it's wonderful. You win. That's the point. Is that if you're running properly, you fight against gravity and you win. It is one of the few things we can do as a human being that basically gets us to unassisted human flight. We are, for little portions of time, flying.
And
very
just
micro portions
that
of
tiny
time.
little bit of time where you keep yourself elevated,
yes,
right?
Exactly. That moment where you basically slap your feet down to reality and you go, that's right. That's right.
Stay away. Yeah.
But because of the adrenaline, because of the physical, all the endorphins, all the stuff running through your body, the chemicals and everything, you will start to, every once in a while, lose sense with your feet. And when I say lose sense with your feet, it's a conscious sense. You can subconsciously understand that they're still there doing their job so you don't crumple into, bones and fall to the ground, basically.
Right.
But when you've been running a certain amount of time, where then the pain starts to come in, it's all over your body, it's in your lungs, you're going, but you push beyond that, this is what happens. What they showed here is a perfect visual representation as to what happens. You basically become nothing. Your body basically just you become a spirit. You become a thing with the wind itself. And this is why in some ways I make jokes about being just naked and free. This is literally what I've been trying to describe all this time. And everyone would laugh and make jokes about it. I'm like, no, you don't get it. When you've been running past a certain point, and hopefully if you're running, you're not wearing like double, triple layered, baggy tons of stuff and everything like that. You're probably wearing some
the blood
short
gets
shorts.
pumping enough, you'll be kept warm.
Yeah, a very light, upper torso garment wear just for the purpose of keeping your body warm at the very least.
Yeah.
But that feeling of just being weightless and free and flying and just in it, this is it. This is why.
Yeah, as far as like leave it to anime to basically take something that's very kind of mundane, if we were to actually like physically see it, like yes, they're running at incredible like levels here, right? But just the idea of running in general, it's like, okay, yeah, running, there you go, right? But then it's like, no. let's show you how awesome it really is. Let's show you just how awesome it is. Yeah.
I also like it because in a fun little call out to what happened with King, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna go on this for a little bit.
Go for it. I mean, they spent quite a good amount of time on it in the episode.
It looks wonderful. Is that he became basically nobody. One of the things that happened here...
Spirit of running itself.
Well, right, but he just became a body flying through the wind with little bits of snow, dust, and, you know, frost, whatever that stuff was that shattered off of him. In a true sense of him being in love with running, this was him basically melding with it and surrendering his whole essence to it.
Yeah.
But here's what that means, though. He lost his identity. His jersey went away.
Sure.
His clothes went away. Everything about him
trappings.
that is attached exactly was gone.
Yep.
But then he put them back on in his mind. Things one at a time start attaching themselves onto them. And they're one at a time.
Right,
The
so you can
first thing
tell
is
the
that
priority of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is in the Hakone Ekiden. The sash goes on first before any of the clothes.
Then he gets the
jersey.
The Kansai jersey.
And this is I am a part of Kansai. I am a Kansai representative running the Hakone Ekiden. That's it. Nothing else comes back except then just the color for his, his skin and everything there. But that's it. In the sense that he was talking about how I need to focus here, I feel like this was a subconscious moment where he basically became the nobody, where he found himself in the running and fell in love with it. But then as he attaches more onto it, it's oh, okay, but I'm here. So him getting that ability to widen his gaze is what they then call out later when we see him again, is that he's like, wow, my gaze is so wide.
Like I love how there's a point where he actually wonders if he's been slowing down, because he's like, hold on, this doesn't quite feel right. Like he's straight up having like almost an out of body experience, right?
Oh yeah. And
then it's like, oh wait, no, I don't think I am actually moving slower. I think that just means I can go a bit faster.
I can go faster.
And
this is basically the dimension that he's been trying to push his way back into again. And, we saw this at the very first episode when Haiji bumps into him. But this is the point, though, where it becomes a conscious thing.
Right. And yeah, because Kakeru... You might even say that Kakeru wasn't actually even running in that zone place, whatever, when Haiji saw him. Haiji saw that he could. Right, that all the technical things were there, right?
Yeah, I think it was Haiji's beholding of the form and the combination of, just the art of how he was running.
Exactly.
He was running perfectly.
Yes.
Regardless of how fast he was going.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's the, oh no, I can go back into that place. It holds no negative, side effects for me. Right. I am truly free, right? The trappings are gone. I love running.
Right. And that's the difference here. Is I feel like at that time, Haiji was beholding someone who he assumed must love running in order to look like that.
For it to be this perfect and everything, you
have
must,
to love
right?
it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why he was like, you love running, right?
And then Kakeru's like, how can you say that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in this case here, he entered it subconsciously. Now all the stuff left off. He consciously put it back on. And then, at that moment where he's realizing, I'm thinking about way too many other things. Wait, am I slowing down? No. This is just me approaching what I thought was my limit.
And realizing.
And then kind of getting a little bit distracted. Not really, but oh, no, wait, that means that I can push myself harder. That's when then he chooses. That's when he basically enters that zone.
Yep.
Of his own free will, because he loves running.
Right. And that's the true culmination, cherry on top of his character arc.
Yep.
Because this is how you know that it's not just some happy environment. It's easy randomly at one point, and he has a cool experience. But that he has truly taken this into him. Right. This is running. He will always love running. It's not just that he loves it now. Right. This is a long-term relationship, permanent kind of deal. Right.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
I love moments in in real life, basically, where you'll see this happen, where someone basically just giggles in excitement because they get to do the thing they love, right? I saw this in a really weird context to bring this up with here, but I was at the Destiny 1 pre-order, not pre-order, but basically the game's launching thing in Bellevue, with Bungie Studios and everything like that. And there was a bunch of people that I was in line with and became friends just over the course of time, just waiting for the doors to open and everything like that. One of the first, 25 people that went through, though, and were then coming back out, had the swag, all the stuff, but they had the game box. And they just did, a little, little jump, giggle.
Yeah,
and then
heel click and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just that moment where I was like, they are ecstatic. Yeah. They are getting
on
to
cloud
do,
nine, and no one
they're on their way home to go have the best time of their lives, right?
Right.
You know, what's in that though is this expectation that it's going to be such a wonderful time. But the thing you rarely see, and I think you rarely see,
where it's happening while in the moment.
It's in the moment. Most people, when they're doing those kinds of things in the moment, they won't express it.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that they're like, this is mine.
Right.
This is my special thing. A lot of it comes
from that whole thing of either not being sure enough that they are in fact enjoying it that much, but then also not wanting it to be their parade to be rained on by other people who might see it and be like, that's weird, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of, in a lot of ways, running, is that after a certain point, people can't help but just notice. They'll just
and
because you make a ruckus. You can't run in the same place. You have to go somewhere. You have
and as long as you're not doing it just as a run in the morning by yourself while listening to music or something, it's going to be with some sort of purpose, usually with some kind of competition, right?
Yeah, with yourself usually.
Right, with yourself and things like that. But nobody's going to get bothered by you running unless they just wish that they were as fast as you. You know.
But that's the thing, though. Everyone can get bothered by anyone's passionate expression.
Yeah.
But the worst is probably going to be is just, in some ways, what Prince was kind of having his little moment of. It's this makes me hate running.
Yeah. Which, I love that.
I love that so much because I've had many times where I'm like, I'm really into this thing. And then I saw someone who had dedicated a decade to it. And I'm just like, well, I just lost all my motivation.
It's Kevin Hart talking about how he's, working on material at some comedy club and he does it and then he's getting tips from, one of his friends. And then Dave Chappelle goes up and does something
improvs a bit
off the cuff completely for 45 minutes, and then he just tears up his notes, when
you see the grandmasters on stage or out on the track or what have you, or doing their thing to the fullest, there is a very self-conscious aspect of you're like, well, that's what it really looks like then. But Haiji's thing of we're all running the same track, but we have different goal lines. We have different end zones, basically.
He's gonna beat that record.
Yeah, and
with just that record.
Yeah, that's so wise. I wish more people got that.
Yes,
because
I agree.
There's something really, really sad about comparison. There's something really sad about it, and all of what the coaches have been. The people in Kakeru's past who've been pushing him to kind of perform at this specific way, because they've compared him to everyone else and deemed him to be worthy and special of their amazing coaching, But Haiji's response to Kakeru's greatness, if you will, don't touch him.
Yeah. No.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare get in his way. Just let him fly.
Yep.
There's something so beautiful and freeing about running that I really feel like everyone should do it. Really? This is not a
for your health benefits.
For your health, everyone should run. But no.
You're an airbender through and through.
I am an airbender.
So run with the wind and freedom and all that stuff. You're like, hell yes.
Hell yes. But no, this is my point though. This is my point, is that running in general gets at something primal.
Yes. There aren't enough things in our society where we can engage with our primal selves. I feel like.
You cannot recreate a good running experience, really, in almost anything else. I don't really think you can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what actually there is that's kind of
It's
similar
a
to
hell
it,
of an
and they're all
endorphin
just
rush.
basically different forms of running.
Yeah,
that's
like-
it. Like they're not really different from running. They're just running in context. You know.
Yeah.
That's it.
One of the things that kind of blew me away was when I was working out a bunch, and my trainer would tell me that doing cardio after a workout, even like not because there's the whole post-workout thing of like, okay, get your protein shake in half an hour after you're done, right, for the maximum possible rejuvenation,
Recovery,
or whatever,
yeah.
right,
Rebuilding the muscles, yeah.
But he was saying no, before you do that, just after you're done actually
bit of
working
cardio.
out, do cardio.
Yep.
It's like the endorphins and everything that you get from, or not the endorphins, the other term for it, but basically are so helpful.
Yeah.
Are so helpful that they will boost your recovery, even though you're putting off getting the actual nutrition in, and you're not breaking down your muscles anymore, right? Like, because the
that's
actual
probably because you weren't doing legs on those days.
No, even on leg days.
Oh, even on leg days.
Like,
Oh, okay.
because if the muscles have already been broken down from the actual like heavy workouts or whatever, right?
Sure,
But
yeah.
the running itself isn't really changing that, right? But that the hormones, that's it.
Hormones,
the hormone
yeah.
boost that you get from that is valuable enough that it's worth pushing back the actual intake of the nutrients for the actual recovery, because it's just that good.
Yeah.
No.
I have to like compare it to like sex or something. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like
no,
I'm
that,
like
that was the one other example that I was thinking of when I was like,
I'm like-
getting at something primal, and
it busts your legs and it gets at something primal. So there you go.
yeah,
There you go. That's
and freeing, yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But in some ways, actually, running is probably better because it lasts like just potentially longer. Well, I don't know.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I know, but
Bruh.
most. Yeah, that is a good point. That's a very good point. But to be fair, I think I prefer to run for about 45 minutes to an hour.
Gotcha.
Like that's my kind of
Okay.
timeline with that.
So Frisbee pushes that.
Frisbee is 100% that. Yeah. Frisbee
Okay.
is always an hour.
Although that is one of those things where at least then there's the
It's
there's
running
the-
in context. Yeah.
right, running in
So you
context.
can
there are the times
actually-
where you do stop for a few seconds.
Oh yeah, constantly. So it's not continuous running.
Right, yeah.
In that respect, it's easier
Right.
by a lot. Yeah.
High intensity interval training or whatever that
Whatever
whole thing,
that is. Yeah. But God, this is a really cool visual and just emotional way to explore
Excellent.
what this is for Kakeru.
And
now,
You're gonna do great, Kakeru.
yeah, you're catching up.
And then we get to see what happens with Haiji.
But you guys realize they might seed.
Yeah.
They might get a seeded spot.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Like, there's
seeding,
a-
and then by
Yeah.
the way, 4 of our runners or whatever aren't even going to be here next year.
Right.
you know?
The main issue is that they have to add in Shindo's time after this. So even if Kakeru gets first place here, it doesn't mean anything because
right. There's still the minute 48 or whatever.
there's the negative time. It was more than that.
No, I think it was a minute 48.
It was a lot, but
Yeah,
either
yeah.
way, Shindo put such a negative on the clock.
Right.
That just because they end up in 10th or below,
Right.
that doesn't necessarily mean they're seeding.
And that is a good point. We don't know when they said you're in 10th place, whether that's them looking at the time and being
It's
like,
the
all right,
section.
we're adding it in, or
no,
or
it's entirely based on the section.
Probably.
They would not make that calculation in the middle of the running bit there, because what that is it's basically telling them where you are with regards to other runners. Like, because you wouldn't want to give them that kind of a time thing. It's too much and too complicated. And also, really, if you wanted to, Kakeru could actually just look at clocks as he passes by.
That's true.
And when he started, just note the time.
Well,
So-
because I'm pretty sure it would just end up being taking whatever deficit they had when they started and then just adding that on to. Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
Kakeru's bit is not done yet. He's only about halfway.
Yep.
So, Oh,
Okay.
all right. Last episode next week. So y'all, if you want to see the next episodes, the final episodes, reaction and discussion, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. And also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. Info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.